Thank you for joining me for Time to Mobilize. For today's mobility session, you will want a rope or a towel or a strap or something. I'm just using a rope here. And then you'll also be using a wall. So make sure you have access to both of those materials. And then we'll just get started with warming up your joints a bit. So we'll start with some gentle backward shoulder rolls. And some forward shoulder rolls. Open your arms up nice and wide, squeeze those shoulder blades behind you, around your back forward. Stretching out your chest here. We'll do one more. Awesome. Grab onto your strap or rope or towel. The wider you grab it, the more gentle the stretch will be. All you want to do is pull it apart so it's nice and taut. And then you're going to lift up over your head, feel a stretch through your chest, and then bring it back down, lift up. As you get a little bit warmer through this stretch, when you get to the top, you can do a bit of a shrug with your shoulders. And then you can go all the way around the back and all the way forward. Be gentle, don't force it. Just kind of ease into that sticky point. Keep your arms straight. Pull that strap or towel apart. Again, the wider it is, the more gentle the stretch. And then if you want to pull through, it's just a shrug at the top. Keep pulling it apart. Come back. Here we go. Gets into those deep chest muscles. Awesome. We'll return to that sticky point, wherever that is, and you're just going to pulse back with your arms there, working into that range of motion. You can work your hands closer or farther apart depending on what feels good for you. And relax those arms. Just give them a bit of a break. We'll come back up to that position, find your sticky point, and you're going to pull it down to one side. You'll feel the stretch up the other side. I'm hitting the ceiling, so I'm going to come to my kneeling position here. Can gently pulse into that stretch. Relax your arms. Bring them back up, pulling that strap apart. Other side. Excellent. From here, we're going to activate some of your shoulder blade muscles. So what you're going to do is still hold on to that strap, pull it apart, but maybe now you're closer together, about shoulder width apart. Palms are up to the ceiling. You're going to bend over, keep your arms straight, pull that strap apart, and just lift up behind you, pulsing a bit higher. Keep pulling that strap apart as you pulse higher. And you can relax. Let's flip those arms around so now your palms are facing down. And we'll do the same thing, keep pulling it apart, lifting up. And you can relax. Whew. All right, we're going to use the wall next. So I'll demo maybe on a couple walls here, but what you want to do is stand so that your hips and shoulders are against the wall, and also your elbows are against the wall and the backs of your hands. Keep your core nice and tight so that this gap between your lower back and the wall doesn't change, it just stays in that position. You're going to reach up as high as you can while keeping everything connected to the wall, core nice and tight, and then bring it back down. Reaching up and back down. So these are called wall angels. I'll try to show you on my closet door here. It's not quite as smooth as my wall door. So everything is against the wall, reaching up as high as I can while keeping everything connected, and then back down. So let's go for 3 more of these. They shouldn't be particularly comfortable. Awesome. Shake that out. You're going to move into your lats and upper back. So place your hands about shoulder width apart on that wall. And you're just going to push your head between your arms, trying to create a nice straight line from your arm to your torso here. Let gravity assist you in pushing those shoulders down towards the floor. Again, you can do a little pulse. The other thing you can do here is do a shrug so that you bring your shoulders up towards your ears and then press down, and that will give you a bit more range through your shoulders. So for me, that's an essential part of the stretch. Depends how tight you are. So shrug your shoulders up to your ears, almost like you're pushing the wall away, and then pushing your head down between your arms. Slowly come out of that. We're going to do the same sort of stretch, except we're going to bring your hands wider, and you'll feel that the stretch is more into the armpit area. It's quite a different stretch than the narrow one. So, arms wide. Same thing on the wall, pushing your head through, doing that shrug again. So push into the wall so that your shoulders come up towards your ears, and then pressing down. And you can relax. Awesome. All right, now that you've had enough shoulders, we're going to pick on your wrists, because that's another area we haven't picked on a lot lately, but it needs attention. So let me back up here to where you can see my wrists. So we're going to start by warming them up a little bit. So placing your hands on the floor. Let's see. Placing your hands on the floor. You're going to split all your fingers, keep all your knuckles in contact with the floor, and you're just going to rotate your elbows one way and then rotate the other. So keep those arms straight. Go for one more here. Excellent. The other wrist warming up exercise we're going to do are to get those forearm muscles working. You're doing palm raises, so you're going to raise up your palms and then push them down. And you're just resisting that motion, pressing down into the ground with your fingertips. You should feel the muscles all the way up your forearm, doing some work here. You can make this really hard on yourself if you want, if you really resist the motion. Go for 5 more. Excellent. You can take a moment to shake that out if you want. So stretching a little more deeply into your forearms, you're going to have your hands on the ground, fingers splayed, all your knuckles down. You're rotating those elbows so they're pointing straight forward. Your elbow pits are pointing straight forward. And you're just going to rock forward over top of those wrists. You want tolerable discomfort here. Don't go too crazy. You're doing about 10 to 20 of these rocks. Then from here, you're going to turn your hands so they point out to the side. Still having those elbow pits pointing forward. Hands are pointing out to the side. I'm going to rock back and forth. All my knuckles are pressed down into the floor. My fingers are splayed. From here, I'm going to rotate so my fingers point back towards my body. Elbow pits are still pointing forward. Now I'm rocking back. Fingers are still splayed. All my knuckles are on the floor. And the last one here, which nobody enjoys, is the backs of your hands are going to go down on the ground. So to make this more gentle, you can place the backs of your hands like beside your legs. And then the further forward you go, the more tough it will be. You still want your elbow pits rotated forward. And then you're just rocking back, bringing your forearms towards your palms. Your palms are facing up right now, and the backs of your hands are on the floor. So be gentle. Excellent. Let's shake that out a little bit. You're doing great. We're going to move into some back exercises. So first off, we're going to start with child's pose. Knees nice and wide, sitting your hips back onto your heels and walking your hands forward. I feel like these pants aren't working for me. All right. Resting your forehead on the floor, reaching those arms overhead. Walk your hands over to the left hand on top of right, and push that right hand down, stretching out your sideline. And we'll go the other way. Right hand on left, pushing the left shoulder down towards the floor. onto your hands and knees. So knees are directly under your hips, hands are directly under your shoulders. You're going to round your spine up to the ceiling. And then arch it down, hips back, chest out, head up. Get some nice extension through your spine there. Rounding the opposite way, tucking that tailbone in, tucking your chin in. And back to extension. One more time up to the ceiling. And arching the other way. Excellent. Take your one hand, reach underneath as far as you can while keeping everything else still. So this free arm is straight, your legs stay still. You're going to rotate underneath, reaching as far as you can with that hand. And then rotate up to the ceiling. Don't let anything else move. You're just trying to get rotation through your thoracic spine. So underneath, over top. We're going to do 5 of these on each side. This is number 3. 4. Excellent. We'll switch to the other side. Get yourself nice and stable, reaching underneath, keeping everything else still. Reaching up to the ceiling. You can really see where my restrictions are on these. I'm sure you can feel them as well. And then back up. Awesome job. All right, we're gonna scoot over to the wall, get into your hamstrings with some legs up the wall. So the closer your hips are to the wall, the more intense this stretch will be. If you want, you can put a block or something underneath your hips. That'll make it a bit easier. Alternatively, you can just scoot back. So we'll start out just nice and relaxed here. Feel a gentle stretch up through your hamstrings. From here, what I want you to do is pull your toes down towards your shins. Hold it there. This should intensify the stretch. And then point your toes up to the ceiling. If you have really tight shins like me, this will be quite painful. So just work within whatever range is good for you. Pulling your toes back down towards your shins. Pointing up towards the ceiling. We have one more time, pulling those toes back. And pointing up. Okay, we're going to get into the inner thigh, so bring your feet wide. just to relax. Let gravity do its thing, don't force it. Chilling out here. From here, what I want you to do is flex your toes and then try to rotate your toes so they come towards midline. Then relax them back out. Rotate in, back out, in, back out. Let's go for 2 more. In, out. Last one, rotate in, big squeeze, and out. Relax a bit. Okay, very slowly bring those legs back up. Gonna cross one foot onto the opposite knee to get into your glutes. And if you're like me, you're gonna have to scoot back a little bit to do this, but it totally depends on your own flexibility. So cross your 1 foot over onto the opposite thigh, just below the knee. And then with your foot that's on the wall, the more you bend that knee, the more intense the stretch is going to be in the opposite hip. So just find a position that feels good for you. And with your cross leg, you can rotate out and in, out and in. You go for 5 of those. And just ease into that stretch a little bit more. Let's switch sides. Crossing the foot over. And 5 rotations, bringing that knee out and in. Get a bit deeper into that stretch if you want. Let's hold it here. Slowly unravel yourself from the wall. I'm going to move into some calf massage, self-calf massage. There we go. There I am. All right, so what you want to do is take your opposite knee and then you're just going to place it on top of the other knee and you're just going to go up and down that muscle belly, looking for any tender areas. Can get a little bit more intense as you go. And then if you find a spot, I want you to just gently massage into it with that knee. If your wrists are getting sore, you can go down onto your elbows while you're here. Let's switch sides when you're ready. Crossing that knee over onto your calf. Warming up that muscle, just going up and down. Find any tender knots, put a little more pressure in there. Awesome, and we're going to finish off with a foot stretch. So all you need to do is tuck your toes underneath your body, and then you're just going to sit back onto your feet, and that's going to stretch out your toes and your arches. Now for some of you, this position here may be too intense. It's totally fine. You start here. This is definitely where I started out as a runner. My feet tend to get really tight. Make sure that your big toes and second toes are on the ground there, being flexed and stretched. And then to make it more intense, you would just get more of your body weight down onto your feet. Maybe you can even lean back behind you. That is definitely too intense for me. Just ease into it, be gentle, don't rupture any muscles. Then you can slowly come out of that stretch, releasing, stretching out the shins if you'd like. Maybe for this one as well, you might be able to lie back behind you. Again, that's a little beyond my abilities, but if it feels good, then you go ahead. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you gleaned some good stretches out of that, and I'll see you for our next session.